workshop and a reading. So stay connected, sign up on the list in the back. Today's reading title, A Wall is Just a Wall, was suggested by the amazing poet Altadena. She is here. She has been a co-conspirator for many of the readings over the past 18 months, including tonight. So let's give her a hand. As many of you know, A Wall is Just a Wall draws from Asada Shatur's poem, Affirmation. This is her book, which is called Asada, an autobiography. I was introduced to it actually simultaneously by Olga and then my daughter, who was researching on Asada for her undergrad. And I read it so fast, and then I reread it and read the book, and I hope everybody reads it. I wish we had copies to sell today. I didn't think of it, but we'll have them in future readings. Asada passed away in September this year, but coincidentally, we had already selected the title for tonight in remembrance of bombs burned by the January fires, the ice raids, water bomb, genocide in Gaza, and so much more global violence. So today, we will honor Shakur by reading Affirmation, in which we'll begin our reading. We will read it as a collective. So I invite all the poets who are reading tonight to please come down. Please join me on the mic and read your section of the poem. And Tracy, I believe you're starting. So everybody, if you would all just come up and stand, that would be great. It'd be a good time for me to introduce you all. We're going to begin with, let's just begin by reading the poem. I think we need to read Affirmation. My grace is just good evening. I believe in living. I believe in the spectrum of beta days and gamma people. I believe in sunshine, in windmills and waterfalls, tricycles and rocking chairs.
I believe that seeds can grow into sprouts, and sprouts grow into trees. I believe in the magic of the hands and in the wisdom of the eyes. I believe in rain and tears and in the blood of infinity.
I believe in life, and I've seen the death parade march to the torso of the earth, sculpting mud bodies in its path. I've seen the destruction of the daylight and seen bloodthirsty maggots prayed to and saluted.
I have seen the kind become the blind, and the blind become the blind. In one easy lesson, I have walked on cut glass, I have eaten crow and blundered bread and breathed the stench of indifference.
I have been locked by the lawless, handcuffed by the haters, gagged by the greedy, and if I know anything at all, it's that a wall is just a wall and nothing more at all. It can be broken down.
I believe in living. I believe in birth. I believe in the sweat of love and the fire of truth.
And I believe that a lost ship steered by tired, seasick sailors can still be guided home to port. Thank you. Affirmation. We will begin our reading. We will not read the bios of poets. All of you have the program which lists the bios, so you know who they are. They will identify themselves, and we and all the readings of this season have an open mic component. So if you wish to read, there are 10 slots in the back, and you can sign up and read one poem. We look forward to hearing you share your words. As always, we will open the evening with powerful emerging poets, Alvaro Ramirez, followed by Adalia Rivera. After that, we will read in the following order: Tracy Kanda Kiriyama, Yatunde Palayan, Jessica Kashibara, and then Olga Gazilia. I will also read that point, after which we will have an open mic. Remember to stand up in the back and please help me welcoming.
Hello, my name is Alvaro. So the poem I wrote today is called The Cage Made Out of Glass. And it's a poem that I wrote in the 1 year anniversary of taking Prozac, which is an antidepressant. And I wrote it in spirit of kind of, when you take medication, it's kind of, your brain chemistry changes and these things inside your biology kind of start to change, but your heart and your spirit stay kind of broken in a way. So it's about how medication and Western medicine is kind of helps you in that sense of pathologizing the mind. But there's also different aspects such as community and love that also help heal the heart. So this poem's about the cage made of glass. It's been 365 days since taking my morning pill. And still, I find myself in a bridge between relief and relapse, a borderland where silence is louder than words. Although the pain no longer screams, it whispers. I wonder if it's gone or only waiting, like a shadow pressed against the wall. It seems like this cage is made of glass, clear and invisible to others, yet sharp against my skin. A border I did not choose, but must inhabit. Nepantla lives within me, between suffering and healing, between my clashing identities that fracture and fuse within the same breath. So I've named my doubt a frontera. I've named my healing an in-between. I've learned that to live aquí and allá is to accept that cycle, to break, to grow, and to reimagine. I wonder, when the glass finally shatters, will I be reborn or simply different to a new self born from the place that once caused me great pain? Thank you.
My name is Adalia, and the title of the poem is called I Believe. I believe in life, in the good of this world, and the happiness of people. I believe there is more to life, not to just survive, but to thrive. Every step and breath we take is proof that resistance is living. Resistance to oppression, resistance to corruption, resistance to all the unjust in the world. So we need to walk. Walk steady and walk unrivaled, walk together and break the cycle. I believe in light that refuses to bow down. I have seen the world open its jaws, bar its teeth at me, telling me to stay quiet, keep my head down, and become a follower. But I didn't listen, and I won't listen. I'll keep my stride, no break in my pride. For I do not break. I am not stone. I do not bend. I am not alone. And stone is not finite. This wall can break and show us the light. I have been outcasted, I have been laughed at, and felt the weight of the words linger. I have been pushed down and kept in, losing my sense of self within. I know the darkness intimately, I stayed in there too long. The troubles of my past still haunt me, the voices in my head still cloud me. I know dawn even better. I've gone and found purpose and missed my pain, knowing it's not all in vain. Every step is a promise to this world, our world, that I will not vanish, I will not quiet myself, that every voice matters, that life is worth rising for again and again. I believe, and that is enough. We are enough.
Oh, wow. Could we hear it again for the two student audit studio questions? I wanted to say thank you to Seba and to the Altadena Public Library for bringing this in. I'm so excited to read with some of my very favorite writers and two new colleagues. So it's really lovely to be here. Okay, I'm going to start at the beginning, or I'm going to start at the very end of my book, actually. And we're going to come back to this, and I'm going to ask you to read these lines with me at the end. So if that can get you to pay attention. Okay, this is called Weeds. Let us grow peace like a weed that crawls up the sidewalks of every street. So pervasive, so profound, it becomes impossible to kill. Alien enemy haiku in parts. When they look at us, do they see an enemy running, free, running? This was my grandpa, assessing under his breath. They see enemy. My dad, in a flash, patriot to alien, December 7. An ICE appointment, hidden standard procedure, no a piece of bait. This was my grandma, loving country no longer, standard procedure. And this was something I wrote for Earth Month. When that one older white lady asked, "But do you ever write poetry about nature?" The wings on my back span 15 feet in each direction. I tell her to come under my wing, and we fly across the world. There, I point, is the soil splitting to allow the voices to shake us, those buried too soon from our prisons, detentions, massacres, and all acts of genocide. This accumulation of war, it is called an earthquake. There is the sea, hiding the disappeared, those kidnapped from kingdoms, from their own sovereignty, from family on all sides of all borders, from trans and queer survival, and those before fight for the bigger us. Their spirits surge forth from the ocean floor in tendrils of screams, cries, ashes, and challenges. That is called tsunami. There are the winds of our inaction, our ego, our need for awards and title and capital. All of us are complicit in these systems built to make us complicit, dependent on deficits, dizzying in the cyclone of narcissism and institution. That is called a hurricane. There is the bubble of our state bursting as the people push towards reckoning, reparations, repair. Here, yes, even here. I point to wildfires. Do you see? That is the earth's poetry. Even nature seeks justice. I write about it all the time. I couldn't be here and not honor Peter J. Harris in some way. This is a very short piece that I wrote right after his celebration of life in Los Angeles. And we all know Peter J. Harris, co-poet laureate of Altadena. Yes. Yay, Peter J. Harris. Peter's reign calls us to attention today. Or is it the circles of ancestors before him, calling Peter to the middle of the cycle of this light storm, to get situated for the best seat at his celebration of life? Peter's words and work of joy, of body, of autobiography, of anthology, of manhood, of blackness, of happiness, of fatherhood, all of us here, a part of your creative constellation. The sky parts to sun, clouds dance in delight, griot realized, black man of happiness dies. We wish for more time. Kamau reminds us our burden is our blessing. Go sing your praise song. We hear you, Peter. Find joy even in the pain, our eternal charge. Peter. Do y'all know that he really liked French fries, which is one of my favorite vices? So I like to celebrate after poetry readings by having French fries. And then a little cheers to Peter. And a good excuse to eat fries. All right, last one before we do a little short. So this was after another great poet, Joy Harjo. This was inspired by her poem, Rabbit is Up to Tricks. The first 100, a sonnet. The clay man in his first 100 meals feeds himself first. Loving of the feet he devoured long ago, no traces. Proudly wipes his mouth clean with each disappearance. He slobbers with each hand he licks as if to claim, with each tariff on egg and energy, family and sovereignty. On every body he logs, tree he aborts, child he consumes. Keeps his friend enemies cloaked in the imperial feast. Checks off his campaign promises, a man of his word, of his lies, of his dreams, of his greed, of his own permission. Spit flies everywhere as he descends, Air Force 1, 2, 3 belches with each step down. The worst news is the satisfaction he wipes his mouth with. He knows he has no ears. He was the one who ate them. He is still ravenous. He is still eating. Let's end at the beginning. So I'm gonna say a line, and you're just gonna respond. Yeah, with the same line, little column response. Okay. So this is weeds. Let us grow peace like a weed that crawls up the sidewalks of every street. So pervasive, so profound, it becomes impossible to kill. Let us grow peace. Thank you so much.
He's an old friend. We're standing up here together and I was remembering some of our thank yous. Our performances, early 2000s. Thank you, Seba. Thank you, Christine. Thank you to the Altadena Public Library. And thank y'all. Thank you. Beautiful, powerful poems that relate to both of them so much. So inspired to hear you and to hear your voices so strong, clear. Gosh, I'm in Pasadena. Wild. I'm originally from Detroit, and I've actually been here for over 25 years in LA. And I remember when I first came to Pasadena because I was working at Women at Work. That was one of my first jobs. So I was driving from Long Beach to here, and I had never seen mountains in the town, because Detroit's pretty flat. I had never seen Black folks in mountains. And I was like, wow, I didn't get out in nature. And so it made such a impression on me, this community, and then I grew to know some of the Black community here. And I just want to offer my sincere, my heart for what has happened here in the Altadena area, Pasadena, and the fires, and how we've all been impacted. So this first poem is untitled. Lord, don't move my mountain, but give me the strength to climb. And Lord, don't take away my stumbling block, but lead me all around. Am I forgetting my freedom songs? Who is here to carry it on? Nearly half of Black families in Altadena are gone. Never mind the survival of the sundown towns. Never mind the resilience in the face of redlining. Never mind the seething segregation and indignities of displacement. A village was made here. Some elegant, some artistic, some well-educated lives lived here. A debt is owed to Eden, to Altadena. In spite of these walls of repression, Black folks here pressed on, creating their version of the American dream. But that wasn't enough to secure an earlier call about the fires. Despite all that living and homemaking and building, that call came in wee hours. Am I forgetting my freedom songs? The aftermath, as predictable as Katrina, a great teacher. And those that remain fall victim to the greed of financial predators hungry for their homes. There should be no scramble, no patching together, no requests for forbearances. Not when those same banks know the rapid relief of a bailout. Altadena is not for sale. Perhaps our protests are too polite. Am I forgetting my freedom songs? Who is here to carry it on? As the granddaughter of sharecroppers and domestics, the labor of the soil and linens are embedded in my bloodline, and it is not hard for me to think on a time where my people were running from slave patrols, standing in long lines, doing the rich folks' work, and I therefore command a deeper knowing of the plight of immigrants, despite the division. ICE was modeled on the savage systems used to instill fear on my people. The resistance was the only answer of the enslaved. Perhaps our protests are too polite. Am I forgetting my freedom songs? Who is here to carry it on? Lord, You don't have to move my mountain, but give me the strength to climb. And Lord, don't take away my stumbling blocks, but lead me all around. We'll end on this poem, a meditation or on Gaza. Gaza, forgive us. I've died 10 times today watching my Twitter feed. We've grown too comfortable being on death watch. We've grown too comfortable. Gaza, forgive us. Violent deaths, broken bodies at our fingertips, being delivered on demand to be our complicit. Gaza, forgive us. Let us put down our phones and pick up our pens. Let us sling rocks. May we trouble our tongues to speak and join fight to end genocide. All genocides to end the occupation there, everywhere, now. There will be a free Palestine.
Got a lot of variety to make with that poetry. But just to thank you for the wonderful invitation to the ways and to Christina for organizing and to the Altadena Library. I'm Jessica Shimabara, and I grew up in Temple City, so and then I moved away to New York back. So it really is very special to have readings in my hometown, and it's I'm really it's a blessing. So it's really good. So I'm going to share a couple of poems that are new. So I'm excited and a little bit nervous, but very happy to share them with you. The first one is inspired by some letters I recently found from my grandfather. It's very actually about writing about our mountain. And so I wanted to share tonight. This is from lines from a handwritten letter from my grandfather, Ichiro Tony, to Montgomery Ward. Letter to Montgomery Ward from Ichiro Tony, Barrack 91F, Hart Mountain, Wyoming, on February 13th, 1945. Wrote to you 10th of December, 1944. A long time to wait. Sure wonder, would you write? See the photograph. There is no blanket. Please send. Yours truly. Letter from H. Stockley, Adjustment Department, Montgomery Ward, on March 8, 1945. You were having so much difficulty. I appreciate an opportunity of making it right. The second one is a bit longer, so hopefully you'll enjoy it. But I've been doing a lot of research about Japantowns in the Los Angeles area, and there was one in Pasadena. Actually, it was huge, and it was really enriching. So I went down a long path to another place in that research, and I hope you enjoy learning as I'm learning about this history. Beautification. And this is the work project's kind of becoming a memorial. So I wanted to also mention the late poet Amy Lamonti and these things. Beautification. With a prayer that the cherry trees I donated will grow ever luxuriantly through the years to come, standing as a memorial to the Issei long after they are gone from this world. And fulfilling their responsibility of beautifying the city, I lay down my pen. F.M. Williams.
Southern California has the largest collection of camellias in North America at Descanso Gardens in Nevada. But the blooms are not native to California. Camellias were imported from Japan in the 1850s, and Issei first-generation immigrants expanded the growth and popularity of the flowers in nurseries they opened throughout the state. In the front yard of my childhood, bursts of red and pink in late winter, camellia petals fanned and layered. Francis Miyasaku Uematsu began a nursery specializing in Japanese imported plants in the early 1900s in Los Angeles. In 1930, he made a trip to Japan and brought back over 100 of the best varieties of camellia available. He became known as the Camellia King and later as Grandpa Cherrybush. In 1942, under Executive Order 9066, he and his family were incarcerated at Manzanar concentration camp. Though he couldn't bring all of his plants and was forced to sell more than half of his 132 acres of land in Manhattan Beach, Montebello, and Sierra Madre, Uematsu donated 1,000 Japanese cherry trees to the camp. He supervised the planting of the trees in what became known as Cherry Park, located in front of an orphanage for incarcerates. Forced removal of innocent citizens and immigrants taken to camps in desolate land, planting trees in the fire break. In the 1950s, Uematsu retired the remainder of Star Nursery to his son and concentrated on community projects, donating some of his prize-winning cherry trees to the city of Los Angeles at Bronson Canyon at Griffith Park in an effort to beautify the city. Unfortunately, the Parks Department did not have the expertise to keep the trees alive, and within a few years, they shriveled and died. Uematsu also donated roses he proctored from Los Angeles' Exposition Park to Tokyo, where he noticed the lack of a variety of roses in Japan. Grafts of these American roses can still be found in the many public rose gardens in Japan today. Appreciation for sakura and roses, an act of friendship, a wish for acceptance. San Gabriel Nursery and Florist is one of the oldest and largest nurseries in Southern California. Founded by Fred and Mitoko Yoshimura in 1923, it was originally named Mission Nursery. Known for their rare plants, azaleas and camellias continue to be specialties. There were very few florists in the area at the time. Mrs. Yoshimura taught herself flower arranging, making bouquets, corsages, funeral wreaths, and floral wreaths for horses in the Pasadena Rose Parade. Florists and nurseries offering beauty and peace. The day after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, Mr. Yoshimura was picked up by FBI agents and interrogated and detained for several months. His wife and family were not informed of where he was taken. The family was given notice to prepare for indefinite internment at a remote relocation center. In April 1942, the Yoshimura family was sent to the Gila River concentration camp in Arizona. E. Manchester Bodie, publisher of the Los Angeles Daily News and owner of the estate now known as the Descanso Gardens, purchased Mission Nursery and the nursery stock from the Yoshimuras. Jean Perez, a longtime friend and employee who worked with Mr. Yoshimura when he started the nursery, looked after the Yoshimura's personal belongings until they were able to return to San Gabriel. After the war, the Yoshimura family opened the San Gabriel Nursery and Florist, and it continues to be a family-run business, just blocks away from where my father's house is, where I grew up. Survivors of war, displacement, and wildfires, immigrants caretaking land. The Yoshimura family opened the varieties of camellia that F.M. Uematsu and Fred Yoshimura created through the hybridization of Japanese flowers. Their life's work was stolen by Bodie, who claimed and named the flowers after his own family members. The camellia forest at Descanso Gardens was born from the rare and beloved camellias of the Uematsus and Yoshimuras. Plant the roots, we are the dreamers. I visit the local nursery with my father. We search for sprouts of Japanese cucumber, tomatoes, and eggplants to get our garden going. We till the soil my mother and grandmother tended with my grandfather's tools and carve a path for the seeds with a sickle. My father teaches me to be gentle and firm when planting roots. This land is my land. Generations in the soil nursing me.
Thank you, everyone, for buenas tardes, buenas noches. Thank you all for being here on a Wednesday night. Wasn't it beautiful outside? All the lights and the streets. I want to say thank you to Seba for being such an amazing Laureate and who has put on so much amazing programming this year. Thank you, Seba. And thank you, Christina, for all your work, and also to the library and to all the fellow poets. Gracias. I'm gonna read a piece entitled "We Thought We Were American," and then I'm gonna end with an affirmation. We thought we were American. My mother, they say, isn't fully American. She's almost casi American. For decades, she was sin papeles, ilegal. Now she's resident, alien. How much does it take to become a citizen of the United States of America? How much does it cost? What must you give up? Show me your papers, show me your scars. How much blood does it take to become a citizen of the United States of America? My mother buried a baby in the United States of America. He was a citizen, she was not. Give me your soil, give me your labor, give me your blood, give me your babies, but still not quite good enough to be a full citizen of the United States of America. My mama had 6 babies, 3 in the United States of Mexico, 3 in the United States of America. Los de allá got stamped illegal aliens. Los de acá, American citizens. My siblings and I would stare at one another bewildered. Citizen or alien? We're all the same blood, we'd say. We're all speaking the same languages. We're all living in the same apartment, going to the same schools, eating the same food, watching the same TV. So what's the difference? The birth soil, they said. The birth certificate, the law, the line, that line, always the line, although the lines and laws around citizenship are always changing. I mean, citizenship started off as an exclusive club for white foreign senators. Citizen, you couldn't be Indian, you couldn't be black, depending on your color, you couldn't be female. You couldn't be Chinese, you could be Mexican, even if you were sanitized with DDT. You couldn't be communist, still can't. You couldn't even have a fucking hernia, even if you got that hernia carrying heavy loads for a warehouse in the United States of America. My father, citizenship denied. Growing up, you thought you were American, but then you got put into a special classroom for kids who didn't speak English. Only you did speak English, just not American enough English. You thought you were American, right? But you got detained at the airport because of your surname. You thought you were American, but you got pulled over in your birth city and harassed because of the color of your skin. You thought you were American, but you got told to go back to where you came from because of your un-American accent, your un-American features. You thought you were American, but you got called a terrorist for speaking up against genocide and wearing a keffiyeh. You thought you were American, but you got labeled enemy of the state for exercising your constitutional right to protest. You thought you were American, but they kept saying, let's make America great again without you. You thought you were American, but turns out you're just an anchor baby. I'm an anchor baby. You're an anchor baby. Wouldn't you like to be an anchor baby too? Who's afraid of an anchor baby? Everyone, you must go to the capital of the United States of America, to the White House, and visit the first family of anchor babies. And if you're still confused, you should remember that all the great white people in the continent of America are essentially intergenerational anchor babies. They thought they were American, but and in the spirit of Asata Shakur's affirmation that we started with, this actually was an Instagram post. But you know, poetry lives everywhere, right? On the refrigerator, in Instagram, on little notes on our phones. So this is affirmation. I believe in stellar friendships, in sisterhood from the hood and sisterhood in the woods, bonds that stretch and bend and do not break across dictatorships and the years. Through the harshest of infected winters, viruses and violence, she reminds me that even when trees and plants freeze and are buried in snow, they return to bloom and bear fruit anew. We believe in Sasquatch, the potent spider, the ancestor deer, the rock as ally and anchor. We believe in the hilly rivers that run and in those that have dried out and become pathways of stones. I've seen the cloud people ride in and descend their horses on them. We believe in the rivers we can no longer see, suffocated and buried by greed. Nothing but our own sinews to the stars is lost. The earth will survive us all. We believe in the tiger swallowtail, in the necessary and majestic migration of monarchs, in the resting woman, in newborn Nico, arriving in warring times and yet weighing in at 9.5 pounds, wearing tie-dye blue baby jumpsuits. We believe in the future searing faith of Harriet Tubman and underground railroads. Even as human monsters cultivate death and destruction, we savor the sweetness of sacred life, the smallest plum plucked from a wild tree. We believe we are tasting pieces of the universe. We believe we are tasting pieces of ourselves.
Oh, let's give another round of applause. It's such an amazing reading. I'm going to read a couple of pieces and then we will start the open mic. If you have not signed up for the open mic, that's the place to do it. And this poem, it is in honor of what the Japanese American community have gone through. I've done a long range project with in Pasadena Unified School District with students. And so last year I visited Manzanar and this was part of that project. And this poem came out of it. And with everything else going on around us. How many monuments must we construct? How many monuments must we construct? In the foothills of the Sierra Nevada mountains, Carlos is ready for his hotel room to eat, play video games, do something else, anything else, but stand beneath the baking sun, a mile away, Manzanar Cemetery. Between reconstructed barracks, he sees a basketball court, open space, lined by snow-capped mountains. 3 teenage boys circle around the room, and his teachers and I witness a basketball game, same the one played by teens imprisoned, playing Japanese. They dunk, swim, rush each other on a court created by fathers who poured gravel so that children could forget they were prisoned, yanked from their homes, pushed behind barbed wire, released only after bombs and radiation rolled across Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Today, only archives exist about the 1.5 million killed during partition, and spaces such as Los Angeles's Museum of Tolerance, Dhaka's Bangladesh
Liberation War Museum, to Santa Fe's Museum of Indian Arts and Culture exist and honor to remember those killed in genocides. And historic sites like Ouida's Door of No Return on the coastline of Benin grieves the enslaved carried on ships that cut past west into the Atlantic Ocean towards North America, while other ports remain unmarked for ships that sailed from East Africa across the Arabian Sea to the Balochistan coastline. At night, our students tell us they found freedom on the porch. I listen and wonder if we can ever know how the incarcerated children felt 80 years ago. Today, I weep as I follow the stories of the 60,000, 100,000, 200,000 plus, many of them women and children massacred since October 7, 2024. And I ask you, how many Palestinians must be killed? And how many monuments must be constructed so we don't repeat history? This next poem, and it's my second poem and only poem actually other poem that I'm going to read. It's a work in progress, so yeah, give me some grace. It's inspired by Sada Shakur also, and by Faiz Ahmed Faiz, an amazing revolutionary poet from Pakistan where I am from. We shall see. A wall is just a wall. Old Hidalgo pump house, Texas, Mexico, Oregon. No filming allowed. Violators will be prosecuted. We stand by the sun, my friend with a video camera, ready to record. Beat. Yet another poem, barbed wire, along the river, converted into an 18-foot border wall. I perform, my friend records. We drive away. We know the ocelot lurks on the other side and wait for nighttime, but yet the wildcat came up with us. With college students on both sides, we talk about the wall, curving to contain water, people, ocelots. From fairs I know on their kingdom, we shall see. We shall see when crowns will be tossed and thrones overturned. We shall see. From Asata, I know the wall is just a wall. And yet I ask, if the wildcat with her ringed tail and amber eyes, will she survive extinction before the wall toppled? Thank you. Thank you. We have snacks and refreshments. Feel free to mingle after the open mic. Do we have some setups? Yes. Yay! Cannot wait. I do. I know one very well. The first one that I welcome is Vinal Sandivar. Hi.
Hi, my name is Minal. I will be reading an excerpt from, not a poem, but an excerpt from a piece that I wrote after I did some research on Sada Shakur with a professor at my university. One of the most important lessons imparted from Shakur is internationalism, an awareness of how all activism for freedom is interconnected. An internationalist perspective has shaped my background, and I'm constantly reminded of how people's stories overlap and intersect. As Shakur says, any community seriously concerned with its own freedom has to be concerned with other people's freedoms as well. The victory to oppressed people anywhere in the world is a victory for Black people. Each time one of imperialism's tentacles is cut off, we are closer to liberation. Imperialism is an international system of exploitation, and we, as revolutionaries, need to be internationalists to defeat it. My parents' histories, though continents apart, are connected. My mother was born in Karachi, Pakistan, a few decades after the violent partition that led to her parents having to leave their homes in northern India. Meanwhile, my father's family has roots in Texas when it was still a part of Mexico. before the borders were pushed. As a South Asian Chicana, I have seen how larger issues such as imperialism and war have affected my family history and my adult. These violent fissures still echo today. Since learning from Asada, these connections have become even more apparent. Before they were background noise, now they're screaming out wherever I am and whoever I am with. At my university in Pennsylvania, Asada manifested into my life and the people that I was around. After the encampments, we were and still are told about how they were inappropriate and disruptive. But isn't the point of protests to be disruptive for change? That's what we've learned from past movements and from activists like Shukla. Each person that I talk to tells me about the environment of solidarity and peace that we created, and how the authorities who are supposed to keep peace and encourage learning destroy it. Our movements are not only calling for the liberation of Palestine, but also other regions such as Kashmir, Sudan, Libya, Congo, and within the US. Student Action for Palestine can be seen as a roadmap for the united fight against oppression, as carrying out Shakur's legacy. The past year, I've had conversations with friends about feeling hopeless, powerless, and lost. But I'm reminded of the power of collective consciousness when I read Shakur's work and when I see how it is realized of the real events of our resistance. Shakur's writing does not end with her, as she encourages us to continue working to abolish systems of oppression, to continue to learn and grow together. Thank you.
Thank you. Very inspiring. And second and final open mic reader is Anna Eastland.
Good evening, everyone. Well, thank you so much, Seva, and everyone for being here tonight. I'm also grateful for this room. I'm gonna miss it because I'm sure it's gonna be changed, and there's a lot of growing and it's holding a lot of our memories. So I feel very close to memories because I lost my house in the fire. So knowing that things are temporary is just. So tonight I'm gonna take some liberties and I'm going to read my poem in 2 languages. It was originally written in Spanish. I wrote this poem for my father, who will have his 6-year anniversary on December 25th. And he died here in Altadena in my home. And so I wrote this poem, and this poem is sort of about walls too. And it's about the emotional wall that we sometimes have with people in our lives. And this poem is sort of my way of saying it's never too late to break down that wall. So here it is in Spanish. Para que tú me entiendas. Para que tú me entiendas, escribo estas palabras en español. El lenguaje de mi enseñanza, de mi primer dolor, de nuestra conexión. Aunque nunca me dijiste te quiero, lo sentí. Las palabras envolvían tu corazón. Yo también te quiero, te quise, y como tú, nunca lo dije, pero lo sentiste. Esas 2 palabras como palabras que no cabían en nuestras gargantas, hechas nudo, era nuestro hilo. Es un amor tan fuerte. Era nuestro piso, nuestro cielo, la sangre que corre o corría por nuestras venas, tu sangre en la miel. Tus consejos, tus historias, tus chistes, tus regaños, fueron mis 2 palabras, te quiero. Eras un Buda sentado, meditando mi vida y la vida de todos, abrazando bien fuerte nuestro dolor, soltando nuestra dicha, testigo de nuestras decisiones sin intervenir. Miedo y valentía sentiste, vernos vivir mientras tú decías, te quiero en silencio, y tus lágrimas se escapaban y brotaban. Tu madre tampoco te dijo te quiero, su madre tampoco a ella, y así por generaciones hacia atrás. Pero esas palabras querían salir y volar y bailar y decirnos chistes para hacernos reír. Esas 2 palabras, parte de nuestro amor, se escapaban con cada lágrima tuya. Ahora es muy tarde decirte que te quiero en voz alta. Solo te lo puedo decir en mis pensamientos. ¿Me escuchas? Cuando agarré tu mano y acaricié tu pelo, en tu mirada ciega e ida, te lo dije, pero no sé si me escuchaste, pero no lloraste. Solo me mirabas y tu mirada me abrazó y sentí tu amor y hoy aún lo siento. This is the English version. So that you understand me. So that you understand me, I write these words in Spanish, the language of my upbringing, of my first pain, of our connection. While you never said te quiero, I felt it. These words wrapped themselves around your heart. I love you too, loved you, and like you, I never said it, but you felt it. These two words, like giant words that didn't fit in our knotted throats, was our connection, our connecting thread. Is a powerful love. It was our floor, our sky, the blood that runs or ran through our veins, your blood and mine. Your advice, your stories, your jokes, your scoldings were my two words, te quiero. You were a sitting Buddha meditating my life and the life of those around you, hugging our pain tightly, releasing our joy, witness to our choices without intervening. You felt fear and courage watching us live while you said te quiero in silence, and your tears escaped and sprouted from your eyes. Your mother too never told you te quiero, nor her mother to her, and on for generations past. Yet those words wanted to be spoken, to fly, to dance, and to tell jokes, to make us laugh. Those two words, part of our love, escape from your every teardrop. Now it's too late to tell you te quiero out loud. I can only say it in my thoughts. Can you hear me? When I held your hand and caressed your hair in your blind and lost stare, I said it to you, but I don't know if you heard me. But you didn't cry. You only watched me, and your stare hugged me, and I felt your love, and I still feel it today.
Oh, what a beautiful reading. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for reading. Thank you all for being here. Like I said, our next event is January 10th. It's workshop and then an event to commemorate the fires, and celebrate the resilience of the community. That will be on January 24th. So see you all then. Freshmen, hang out. There's books. There's Altadena Poetry Review that is for sale, and it is actually on discount. And we'll go right down that amount. It's available today for $12. And there's my book, and there might be a couple other, I don't know, other authors brought their books. But anyway, check out that counter, sign up for the mailing list, and thank you all again. Have a great end of the year. Did you have anything? Oh, a photograph of the poets, please. Oh, yeah, you want to stick with that? Thank you. Oh, and thank you to those listening online. Have you signed out? All right.
Nope.
Oh, thank you all for joining us. Very good. Then you have to be.